Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Tanya Aneja and I'm so delighted to be joined by two very special guests today. We have with us Devika Seth Bulchandani, Global CEO at Ogilvy. And we also have with us the man behind India's many iconic commercials, none other than Piyush Pandey. Sir, thank you so much, Devika ma'am and Piyush sir, for taking the time out and joining us here on Business Today Television. I want to come to you, sir, first, because you have spent, more than 40 years in this industry. So why don't you take us through your creative journey and, talk to us about your new role, as a chief advisor. I mean, how excited are you?
Creative journey has always been about reaching the people and delighting the people, and not about matching research. That's the journey I followed, and fortunately it's worked for our clients and for me and for Ogilvy. So that's been the creative journey of joy, of satisfaction, and that's why you're interviewing me today. And what was the second question?
Your new role.
New role is actually no different from my old role. I was an advisor for my colleagues, always. Never a symbol of authority of saying, do it like this. We all worked together number of times. They told me on my work that, why don't you change this much? And it became so much better. The best example is on Seal the Will, where I was dropping that drop of water on the signature. And one of my partners said, why don't you drop it on the one? So you'll be left with zeros. Magical difference. We believed in it. And the new role is actually an extension of that one, with a key difference that there are new players who will bring in freshness, and players that I played with, players that we as an Ogilvy team believe in. So I think we are on a better wicket. So I can play in the team when required. I can be a mentor or a coach when required. I can be a client servicing person when required. And I can be a Ogilvy person, which is always required.
You said it. And Devika ma'am, coming to you, since Ogilvy India has announced some other, important leadership transition. So why don't you tell us more, to our viewers about that and what to really expect going forward?
So, as part of the change, the first thing I should say is, when we talk about changes, it almost sounds like very dramatic. This is more succession planning. Piyush has done a spectacular job of not just the work that we've created, but making sure that the next generation of leaders has been here. We calculated a collective of 140 years.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So, Hepzibah Pathak is going to take over as the executive chairman. V.R. Rajesh is taking over as our CEO. Sukesh, Harshad, Kainaz, who have done some of the most spectacular work, not just on the Indian advertising stage, but I'd say the global stage, and has been recognized at the global stage, will be the chief creative officers. Prem
And join the board.
And Prem is going to be the head of planning here, and Hufrish will be the CFO, and collectively they also join the board. And that to me is a very, very important thing, that we have in our board now in India 3 creative leaders, because our belief at Ogilvy is that creativity is not a department, it is our business. And therefore, our creative leaders have to have a seat at the table on how our business is run. Right? So Piyush obviously has done that, for the last many, many years. But all our 3 chief creative officers now will be part of the board, so they have a voice in how this company is run.
Wow, wonderful. And ma'am, it's been like more than 30 years for you also in this industry. So,
oh my God, I suddenly got a bit depressed. I was feeling very excited.
Mentioned 40, so you look much.
So, talk to us about advertising in this modern world and, in this world of social media. I mean, the changes, the challenges and the opportunities.
I don't approach life and I don't approach business with a view to what are all the challenges and how is it going to bring me down and how are we going to be, like doom and gloom is not my operating framework. I think the world that we live in today, creativity offers just incredible potential. So on the one hand, we have more channels than ever before. We have the ability to reach consumers in more ways, right? Where it can get lost is when the medium becomes the idea.
Right.
So my belief and our belief at Ogilvy is it's always idea first, but then we have all these different mediums, media channels that are at our disposal to be able to reach consumers and where consumers are. So that's a huge opportunity. Two, not only can we reach consumers in more and more ways, which allows us to solve business problem for our clients, but today, when we have creative ideas, we can change the course of society. You think of the world, the work that we're doing with Dove.
Right.
Stop the beauty test, whether it's in India or the work that we even do globally with, the toxicity of social media. I mean, where could we do this 10 years ago? So when people talk about doom and gloom, I'm always going, look at what we are able to do today, right? Look at the work we did with Cadbury after the pandemic. This local small business,
right?
A brand like Cadbury could create a platform where a local small business had the ability to be able to advertise, and this is using, sort of AI, but there was an idea first.
Yeah.
We've done some work in Honduras where we've changed the law, where the morning after pill was banned and you could go to prison for 6 years. One creative idea.
And cheap and cheerful.
Cheap and cheerful. One creative idea, the human imagination. And one creative idea executed brilliantly, changed a law. So I think we are sitting in, like I always call it, the golden era of creativity. The problem is we all love to get together as an industry and talk about the doom and the gloom and advertising is dead and AI is going to kill it and Facebook was going to kill it and somebody else was going to kill it. I'm sorry. We're still here. We're thriving as an industry. We are growing. And the value of what we do is proven yet and again.
Absolutely. Absolutely, ma'am. You talked about AI only. Let's talk about artificial intelligence in detail. I mean, how will artificial intelligence change creativity going forward according to you? And how are you using artificial intelligence at Ogilvy?
I have a definition. That's why she's laughing. That artificial intelligence will be used to deliver. And there's artificial intelligence and there is real intelligence. There's the human part. You will always need the human part. You will make it faster by using technology, but you will always need your touch, your imagination. End of the day, it is technology versus God has given you something. And it will be a combination. You should embrace technology, but not be a slave to it.
What about you, ma'am?
If you really think about our clients and why do they call agencies? Why do they have agencies? Why do they want to? Is fundamentally to create what I would say differentiation and relevance. Right? Because if a consumer feels that brand is different and it is more relevant to me, I'm more likely to buy it. That's very simple. When you start thinking about technology without an idea, it is a race to commoditization.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is just saying, I'm going to use technology, you're going to use technology, now everybody's going to use technology. So we are all creating less differentiation, less relevance, which leads to commoditization. What happens in a world that's commoditized? Pricing goes down.
Right.
So if you really think about it, like to me, everything in the world is a tool for us to be able to create ideas that create differentiation and relevance. So you can charge a premium, so you can have greater market share, so you can, whatever
you
the
can
business.
improve the products.
So you can improve the product. So you can, exactly. So I don't know. I see it very simply. Now I understand that as an industry and as a world, whenever something new happens, we all want to talk about how mankind is going to be wiped clean. And I think Facebook was supposed to, weren't we all supposed to be jobless after Facebook? I remember saying advertising agencies are going to die. Yeah, and so it hasn't happened. And if I just look at the data, year on year, media investment is growing. It's not growing at double
Yes.
digits, but it's
Right.
still growing.
Yes.
So it's a healthy industry.
Yes, absolutely it is. And India hosted G20 summit recently, and we were all talking about women's inclusivity. That was one of the themes also. So, when it comes to women's inclusivity, how do you look at the progress that India has made so far, and what are you doing at your level?
I don't. There's a very interesting data point that 2% of all donations goes to women's issues. And the reason I use that data point is to say, I don't think it's a priority for the world. I think we had a moment where gender equality was a big deal, and then all of a sudden, somehow the environment is, suddenly getting most of the attention, which is fine because we all need a planet. We can have equality. If we don't have a planet, it won't matter. We make progress and then we take 2 steps back.
Yes.
Right? So even in the data, if you look at Fortune 500 companies, it's like we're moving backwards, and when are we going to sort of have true equality? So I am not the kind of person who likes to just focus on the doom and gloom of it, right? It's like, I say, I have a seat at the table today, so what can I do to make sure that we're moving the world forward? And I look at it in 2 different ways. And one is, how do we at Ogilvy make sure that women are given a seat at the table? And HEPS, Kainaz, Hufrish, our CFO, executive chairman, and one of our CCOs, 3 women in this, leadership transition. We've just given 3 women a seat at the table. And the second is, we are the ones that create cultural narratives. So we actually have a tool in our creative storytelling. We do it with Dove, with Stop the Beauty Test, of how we change cultural narratives. And I'm a very passionate believer there to say that we can actually advance the agenda for women by actually using the very tool we have to change those narratives and to create greater progress.
Absolutely. And since I'm sitting with Ogilvy veterans, so I would like to ask you, Piyush sir, first, that, what's that secret sauce for a successful advertising campaign, according to you, and your top 3 favorite, campaigns?
I'll start with the last question.
Okay.
If your top 3 don't change every year,
Yeah, exactly.
then you must go to the Himalayas. So they keep changing all the time. And you can't compare your campaigns done in 1987 to what you're doing today. You have grown more than the audiences.
Yes.
So you'll not do justice. And there is no secret sauce. The only sauce is your audience is God. Like Gandhiji said, consumer is God. Your audience is God. Your client is not God. Your brand is not God. If you are able to touch your audience with the brands that you're advertising for, then God is kind to you. And keep on with that.
And
I'll tell you the secret sauce that the team in India says. They say, you take the work and you show it to Piyush. If Piyush laughs, thumbs up. If Piyush cries, thumbs up. He said, but if you get an expression just like this, so that's the secret sauce. Unko dikha do,
That is true.
right? If he tears up or if he laughs, home run.
Okay, wow. Got that. And lastly, Devika ma'am, because, many women look up to you. You are an Indian origin global CEO. So your piece of advice for all the women, viewers who are watching you right now.
My piece of advice to everybody is, it is not a straight road and it is not an easy road.
Yes.
And there's no straight line to it. So don't think that when you have one hiccup or, ek khadda hai ki bas, now I have to give up. Nothing in life has a straight line. So keep going at it. And it is my fundamental belief, Piyush, I love you dearly. But when women can run things, when women can run the world, it will run better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all love Piyush, sir.
I'll tell you, there's a fundamental truth in it. We have all our lives as women learned to model behavior from men, especially in the workplace, right? Because those were the only role models we had. So we talk about equality a lot and we say, how many women are in a company? How many women are in leadership team? I always say, that's not true equality. True equality is when men actually get in touch with their feminine side.
Yes, yes.
And that I have to say, Piyush,
Wow.
he is an evolved man who
Absolutely.
has both sides.
I was trained well.
7 sisters.
7 older sisters.
Oh, wow. So wonderful, wonderful.
I'll just add to what she
Yeah,
said.
sure.
But I have a quote that I like very much. When people ask me about a writer's block, and that's to do with what you said about feminine gender that don't get hiccups like that. And I said there's nothing such as writer's blocks. Those are only speed breakers.
Yeah.
You'll get over it in a short
You
while.
have to keep going.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And that wonderful note, it was a pleasure to host you both on BTTV, and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.